Buckle up. We got a lot to talk about. Bungie revealed Marathon over the weekend, and it was by far probably one of the best game reveals. Now, hear me out. Game reveals that I've ever seen. Now, when I say game reveal, I mean total package. The ARG that led up to the event was incredible. It had puzzles, it had contracts that people could run, different websites, you know, all the stuff that you see out of an ARG. But it was just so in depth. And then the day of the event on Saturday, we got some gameplay from a creator event that they held out in Washington at Bungie Studios. I want to say that there were 40 creators that were invited to that event. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it was around 40. And then we also got Bungie developer discussions. Now, a lot of times whenever I watch these reveals, I get pretty bored, to be honest, with the developers, but I feel like there was no fluff from Bungie. It was pretty straightforward and they stayed on topic, so that was all good. And then at the end of the event, they came out with a cinematic short film that was probably the best cinematic short film I've ever seen come out of a video game. I mean, it was that impressive. It was incredible. It deserves all the awards. Okay, so on to the meat of the video. What is Marathon? What are my thoughts on it? When does it come out? Well, actually, it comes out this year on September 23rd of 2025, but a closed alpha drops this month on April 23rd. One thing that I do want to point out is that not everyone is going to get into this alpha. It is a closed alpha, which means you have to sign up for it. Make sure to head over to their Discord to sign up. But those of us who do get in are going to get hands-on in just a couple weeks, so that's pretty cool. Marathon will have crossplay and cross-save across all platforms, so you've got Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. And one huge thing that I do want to point out is that this is going to be a premium title, meaning this is not going to be free to play. Pricing hasn't been confirmed yet, but Bungie did confirm that it's not going to be a fully priced game. If I was a betting man, it's probably going to fall around $40, but I have more on that later. So first of all, Marathon is an extraction shooter. It is a very standard, you know, when you strip it down to what it actually is, you know, strip out the art style and the hero abilities, it's actually a pretty standard extraction shooter. What I mean by that, the point of the game is to go in, loot, do some quests, do some contracts, get some kills, and extract with all your stuff. Obviously, if you die while you're inside of a raid, you lose all your stuff. Again, this is all very typical of all extraction shooters. The other aspect of this game is that it's a hero shooter, and I can already hear the sighs in the comments. You know, it's kind of funny in the FPS world. I feel like the flavor of the month right now is not only hero shooters, but it's also extraction shooters, and Bungie is trying to cash in on that. Most of these abilities that we're about to get into are pretty standard in most other hero shooters. You've seen these in Apex and other games out there. Again, they're not doing anything really groundbreaking here, but let's dive into these runners and see what their abilities are. Big thanks to Marathon Bulletin for putting these out on Twitter. These descriptions are really awesome. I don't know where he got these from, but I saw those on Twitter and I thought it was great. I'll leave the link below so that you can follow them over on Twitter. But first of all, we've got Blackbird. So prime ability is Echo Pulse. Activate your shell's advanced detection systems, releasing a series of sonar pulses that reveal the location of nearby hostiles. Sounds a lot like someone we know from Apex called Bloodhound, but I digress. Anyway, let's move on. Tactical ability, Tracker Drone. Deploy a mechanized microbot that tracks down nearby hostiles and explodes, overheating any targets caught in the blast. Trait 1 is Interrogation. When pinged by a hostile runner, you automatically receive a warning in your shell's HUD. Performing a finisher on a runner pings their crew. Where have we seen these before? Trait 2, Stalker Protocol. After breaking a combatant's shields, they leave behind a lingering holographic trail for a short time. I thought that trait was pretty neat. That one's pretty cool. All right, next up we got Glitch. Primary ability, Amplify. Overcharge your movement systems, reducing the heat buildup of movement abilities. Increases movement speed and weapon dexterity. So one of the things that I was really excited about whenever I was watching the gameplay of the reveal was that I didn't see a stamina bar, but it turns out their heat status, I don't know exactly the details. I haven't looked into it enough, but I think that's kind of like stamina, and it depends on weather. I think if it's raining, you won't overheat as much, that sort of thing. Let me get on my soapbox for a second. Stamina in games is the dumbest mechanic ever. Stop putting it in games. All right, stepping off my soapbox. Tactical ability, Disruptor. Transform your arm into a cannon and fire a high-powered energy projectile that deals damage and pushes targets away. If you hold it, overcharge your arm cannon, greatly increasing the size and damage of the blast. And then you've got trait 1, Microjets. Activate in air to perform another jump at the cost of generating additional heat. Trait 2, Power Slide. Grants a supercharged slide that generates additional heat. So Glitch is a movement character, right? She is very similar to Neon from Valorant, which is who I main. I absolutely love movement characters, so I'm a fan of this, but again, not groundbreaking, right? And then we got Locust. The prime ability is Search and Destroy. Activate your shoulder-mounted missile pods, dealing sustained damage to targets, launches homing missiles, immobilizing, and dealing damage upon impact. Tactical ability, Riot Barricade. Activate an energy barricade that blocks incoming damage, draining tactical ability energy over time. Taking damage drains additional energy. Trait 1, Thruster. Activate while airborne to fire boosters that thrust you in the direction you're moving. Trait 2, Tactical Sprint. Double press sprint to move faster at the cost of generating additional heat. So from the gameplay that I've seen and listened to creators that were a part of the event that's played this game, they've kind of said that Locust is pretty much meta right now. And, you know, obviously they're going to be tweaking these abilities before launch and even before the alpha. So things are going to change, right? This is all up in the air. But for now, this guy seems like the meta. And then finally we have Void. Prime ability is a smoke screen. Throw a smoke disc that emits a line of smoke fields in front of you, disrupting the optics of those who step inside. Tactical ability, Active Camo. Activate your shield's camouflage systems, pulling a shroud of invisibility over yourself. Trait 1, Shadow Dive. Activate while airborne to slam a smoke disc into the ground, deploying a smoke field. And then trait 2 is Shroud. Your shell automatically activates camouflage systems when entering any smoke field, making you invisible. Invisibility persists for a short time after leaving the smoke field. So those are the 4 runners and their abilities of the game. Just to kind of summarize here, we've got 1 game mode, we've got 4 runners, we've got 3 maps, and a premium title at most likely $40. I say all that because I want to keep everything in perspective when speaking about what I like and what I dislike about this game. And I'm not going to go into all the details of this game. I'm not going to list out every single thing, but I do want to share a couple of things that I really enjoy about what I've seen from Bungie and Marathon. The biggest thing that I would say is probably the art style. The look of the game, the atmosphere is so refreshing in a world of FPS that is just modern military shooter after modern military shooter. Man, I'm going to be honest, I'm just exhausted. And I say that because, you know, hey, I am a Battlefield fan through and through. I am stoked on the next Battlefield. In fact, it's the top game on my list right now. I think this Battle Royale and their multiplayer, if they stay on track where they're going right now, I think it's going to be really good. Now, I say all of that with a grain of salt because I've been burned by EA and DICE before in multiple releases of the franchise. But I think from the leaks and what I'm hearing and what I'm reading, I think it's going to be pretty good. But man, is it so refreshing to see a new IP with a totally different look that's so unique. Honestly, like it or hate it, there's very few games that look like Marathon right now. Maybe Halo looks like it, maybe Destiny, but hey, that's Bungie. Speaking of Bungie, I know they're going to nail it with the gunplay. Gunplay has always been a huge staple with Bungie games, you know, with Halo and Destiny. From the gameplay that I've watched, I have no doubts that Bungie's going to nail it. And finally, their marketing has totally sucked me in. I am a huge visual guy. I love marketing. I love the looks of things. And I think that this is some of the best marketing that we've seen in modern games. You know, when you look at text and visuals and sounds and all of that stuff combined, Bungie's killing it. So while this game looks pretty and there's a lot of good stuff inside of the game, there's also some stuff that I'm not so excited about, starting off with no prox chat. So basically, Bungie has said the reason why they're not introducing prox chat is because of toxicity. And while I get it, you know, it's 2025, things are much different than back in 2007 when I was in some Halo lobbies and some Call of Duty lobbies that would be banned from existence if they happened today. I feel like it's pretty easy to appease both groups. You know, you've got a group that doesn't want to hear prox chat and those that do. You know, from a content creator standpoint, I love watching content on prox chat. I'm not a Tarkov fan, but I've been watching Burnt Peanut lately, and his prox chat interactions are so hilarious.
Ik doe het voor je. cha-cha-cha, cha-cha-cha, cha-cha-cha.
Hello, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, I can hear you, I can hear you. Got any buddies? Got any fellas around?
Why are you butt naked?
Yes! I got him!
You know, it creates intense moments where you can talk smack to each other, but it also creates funny moments as well. Bungie, if you're listening, look, you got to throw it in the game. I think one of the things that extraction shooters struggle with right now is creating that feeling of winning. Let me explain with an example. You have one guy that goes in, they loot, they extract without seeing anybody. In the same lobby, you've got one guy that goes in, he does 3 contracts, he gets 10 kills, and he extracts. In that situation, who wins? Both? Neither? Some may say that's why extraction shooters are so great, and some may say that's why extraction shooters are not so great. My channel was built on Dead Drop. Now, this game was an up-and-coming extraction shooter made by Midnight Society, but unfortunately the studio had to close. Dead Drop had a unique mechanic where you could actually find what's called the Dead Drop, and it was worth 100,000 dust, which was the currency of the game. So as you're looting throughout the match, you gain intel, and that intel basically dials you into the location of the vendor who's holding the Dead Drop. And this is information that's accessible through the entire lobby. It's not like it's just for you or your squad. Anybody can get this Dead Drop. So as everyone is looting, it's dialing into this location of the vendor. Once you get to the vendor, you're able to get the Dead Drop. You still have to extract. And again, once you extract, you got the $100,000 worth of dust. This mechanic actually had weight to it. It actually felt like you won something. And when I look at Marathon and tons of other extraction shooters out there, I just don't see this mechanic of winning. So my thought really isn't directed towards Marathon. It's honestly towards all extraction shooters. I think that there is still room to grow whenever it comes to creating an extraction shooter that defines a feeling of winning. I still don't feel like extraction shooters have nailed that just yet. Another concern of mine is the scav system, or lack thereof of a scav system. If you're familiar with Tarkov, you know what this is, but since we were talking about Dead Drop, I'll just speak on their scav system. The main character that you played in Dead Drop was a claw. Now the secondary character, which was the scav, was called a rat. Once you got into a lobby as a rat, you were able to do all the standard stuff, but if you were able to extract, here's the catch. You weren't actually able to keep all of your stuff in your backpack. All of that stuff turned into the currency that I was referring to, dust. You know, this system was put in place because, you know, there was little risk, and it also gives you a break from, you know, just losing lobby after lobby after lobby with your main character. Well, you can use the scav system to build up your currency, purchase guns, purchase weapons, you know, equipment, all that stuff from the vendors, and then equip all that great stuff that you just bought from the vendor, put it on your main character, and give it a go again. That system doesn't exist in Bungie's Marathon, and I'm worried over time a lot of casual people are going to get burnout really fast. And very quickly, last but not least, it's going to be a pretty stacked year this year as far as games in general. There's Arc Raiders, which is another extraction shooter. There's Exoborn, which is another extraction shooter. Both of those are set to come out this year. We possibly have GTA 6. We also possibly have Battlefield 6. And of course, there's probably another Call of Duty coming out. So a stacked year with a lot of big titles coming out this year has me concerned about the longevity. Obviously at launch, I think because it's Bungie, a lot of people are going to play this game at launch, but what's that mean in the long run? That's the big question to me right now. That's going to do it. That's my real thoughts on this game. I am very excited about Bungie's Marathon. I think it's going to be a great game. I really do. But with that, I do have some concerns with the casual player base and its longevity, but we'll have to wait and see. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, I've got my Twitter link below. You can follow me over there. You can also follow me on TikTok and join the Discord as well. We can have some conversations about Marathon and Battlefield and all the great stuff that's coming up this year. Hey, I hope you have a good week, and I will see you on the next one.